Just when you think the dust has settled in Los Angeles, the storm returns with a vengeance. On the July 30th episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, loyalties are tested, old flames reignite, and an unexpected voyage may change everything. Fashion, love, and power collide as Eric, Ridge, and Nick find themselves at a crossroads that could shake the Forrester legacy forever. On July 30th, The Bold and the Beautiful brings one of its quietest yet boldest shocks. Eric Forrester is no longer pretending to stay neutral. After decades of serving as the patriarch who kept peace among the chaos, Eric finally draws a clear line in the sand. He's on Team Brooke. He encourages Ridge to stop wavering and make a firm decision between Brooke and Taylor. But here's the strange part. Ridge has already told Eric that he did make a choice. So why is Eric acting as if Ridge's decision never happened? This unsettling contradiction opens the door to several theories. One possibility is that Eric didn't like the answer he heard. Perhaps Ridge leaned toward Taylor, and Eric, a longtime Brooke supporter, is refusing to accept it. Another option is that Eric doesn't believe Ridge truly meant what he said. To Eric, words don't matter anymore. Actions do. And if Ridge has really chosen Brooke, why is Taylor still so close? Why does she still look like she has unfinished business? What we're seeing here is more than just fatherly advice. Eric's urging feels like desperation, a last-ditch attempt to prevent Ridge from falling back into his old, damaging pattern of bouncing between two women who deserve better. Deep down, even Eric might suspect that Ridge is still caught in his endless emotional loop. One foot in the past with Taylor, the other stuck in the present with Brooke. That's not love. That's avoidance. And for the first time in a long while, Eric is calling it out. While emotional landmines go off behind the scenes, the Forrester fashion show continues as planned, at least on the surface. The lights shine bright, the audience applauds, and the latest designs make their way down the runway, with the elegance and flair fans have come to expect. But in the world of the bold and the beautiful, beauty is often a distraction from the storm beneath it. And make no mistake, this fashion show is a volcano waiting to erupt. There's tension in the air, a kind of quiet unease just beneath the glittering surface. Everyone is playing their part, but backstage, the cracks are showing. Ridge is visibly distracted. Brooke seems torn. Taylor is present, but too silent, as if she's waiting for something, or someone. Even Eric's public support of Brooke feels like a calculated move rather than a heartfelt celebration. It's as if everyone is holding their breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And it just might, because in a show this high profile, surprises are never just about fashion. Could someone use this moment to stage a dramatic confession? A public proposal? Or maybe a brutal revelation meant to destroy someone's reputation on the spot? The glitz of the runway masks a fragile reality. All it takes is one spark to burn the whole illusion down. Elsewhere, a different kind of drama is unfolding, one that takes place far from Los Angeles. Nick Marone isn't just talking about love, he's chasing it, all the way to Italy. While Ridge remains paralyzed by indecision, Nick makes a bold and deliberate move. He books a flight to Capri and follows his heart across the ocean. This isn't a business trip. This isn't about fashion or family. Nick is headed to Italy for one reason: Brooke. With Ridge distracted and caught in emotional crossfire, Nick sees his opportunity. He's not just hoping for a second chance, he's orchestrating one. While Ridge is still juggling guilt and legacy, Nick has made up his mind. He's planning something romantic, bold, and completely impulsive. In a moment that catches everyone off guard, Nick blurts out, "I have to get to Capri, I need a boat." And suddenly, the pieces fall into place. Nick isn't just chasing Brooke, he's staging a high-stakes comeback. A private yacht, a Mediterranean backdrop, and, if rumors are true, a surprise marriage proposal. This is classic Nick, fearless, passionate, and unafraid of grand gestures. He's pulling Brooke out of Ridge's world and into a fantasy that promises peace, adventure, and most importantly, undivided love. But while the plan is romantic, it's also dangerous. Brooke has a history with Nick, yes, but she also has deep scars from her entanglements with Ridge. Will she see Nick's proposal as a fresh beginning, or just another tempting escape from a reality she's not ready to face. Nick is going all in, risking not just rejection, but possibly his friendship, reputation, and emotional stability. But if Brooke says yes, it could be the end of the Forrester Triangle as we know it. At the center of this whirlwind stands one woman, Brooke Logan. And as Eric chooses sides, Ridge wavers, and Nick arrives in Italy with grand plans, all eyes shift to her. Because no matter how much the men around her plot and plead, Brooke's heart is the key to everything. For decades, her story has been intertwined with Ridge's. Their love has spanned generations, torn families apart, and sparked wars within the Forrester empire. Ridge has been her weakness and her strength. He's the man she always returns to, even when the path is paved with betrayal. But deep down, Brooke knows the cycle all too well. Ridge chooses her until he doesn't. Then there's Nick, the wild card from her past. Their connection was different, softer, more grounded. They shared love, loss, and the bittersweet memory of a child who didn't survive. Nick loved her not as a trophy, but as a partner. And now, out of nowhere, he's sailing back into her life with a literal proposal on the horizon. So where does that leave Brooke? Is she flattered? Conflicted? Or ready? Ready to stop waiting for Ridge to become the man she deserves? And choose someone who's willing to act, not just promise. But Brooke is no fool. She's been swept up by romantic fantasy before, only to crash back into reality. As Nick's yacht awaits and Ridge stays tangled in his own indecision, Brooke stands at the edge of a cliff, staring down a future she never expected. Will she leap? Or will she walk away from both men, determined to find herself again? While Brooke quietly weighs her future, Ridge Forrester finds himself slowly backed into a corner. For a man used to being the one in control of the fashion house, of his romantic destiny, this moment is unfamiliar and uncomfortable. The pressure is closing in from all sides. Eric demands a decision, Taylor waits in the wings, and now Nick is charging full speed ahead. Ridge has always believed he could manage the storm, that his charm, his legacy, and his history would somehow keep everything in balance. But lately, he's been slipping. He says he's made a choice, but to whom and with what proof? Words are not enough anymore, not when Nick is already in Italy, turning fantasy into reality. The Ridge we're seeing now isn't the confident designer commanding the runway. He's a man torn between pride and passion, and pride may be his downfall. While Nick is acting decisively, preparing a romantic escape for Brooke under the stars of Capri, Ridge is still sitting in Los Angeles, second-guessing himself. If Ridge truly wants Brooke, why isn't he fighting for her? The truth is brutal. In this triangle, hesitation is fatal. And Nick, for all his flaws, isn't hesitating. Ridge has always assumed Brooke would be there, waiting, but what if this time she doesn't wait? What if she chooses the man who showed up instead of the one who stalled? As the July 30 episode reaches its climax, the stakes are set. And the question isn't just what will happen, but who will break first? Will Brooke accept Nick's invitation and meet him in Capri? Will she let herself be swept away by someone who's offering love without conditions, without confusion? Or will her loyalty to Ridge, no matter how strained, hold her back once again? And what of Ridge? Will he realize, too late, that his silence is driving Brooke away? Will he board a plane and race to Italy to stop a proposal that could change everything? Or will he stand frozen, watching the love of his life sail off into a future without him? Then there's Taylor, the quiet force always hovering in the shadows. Has she finally seen enough? Is this the moment she steps aside, or the moment she seizes an opening? One woman, two men, and a love triangle that has fueled decades of drama now hangs on a single decision. But in The Bold and the Beautiful, nothing ends neatly, nothing fades without a final spark. Because when a man sets sail with love in his heart, and a woman must decide whether to follow or stay behind, someone is bound to be left drifting, and someone is destined to sink. So hold your breath, because the waters ahead aren't calm. They're stormy, seductive, and ready to swallow the past whole. Capri awaits. The fashion show dazzles, but backstage, love is the real battleground. Stay tuned. Because on July 30th, the waves won't just crash on the shore. They'll crash into the very soul of the Forresters.